Welcome back to Henry's Garage. In this episode we're working on the white TR7. We do three things, although not necessarily in this order, but this is the order I'm going to show it in the video. So some bits might look a little bit out of order, but we finished taking off all of the suspension at the rear. We clean that up. We have great trouble pressing in the new bushes, but we get those in. So that's one thing. We work on the tappets, the head, the cylinder head, and the tappets there, and realised that I was using the wrong specification last time. So using the right specification, work out what we need to buy, and so I can now buy that for the next time I visit. And the third thing is take out the petrol tank and find a hole or two in there, and also quite a bit of rust on the fuel filler pipe and the sender. And so I have a big question at the end about how do I get rid of the rust from the filler pipe and protect the pipe, you know, because it's going to go in petrol and stuff, so I'd want to paint it or whatever, but I don't know if it's got some coating on it in the first place or what I do. So I need to get that cleaned off because you can't buy replacements any longer, at least not new. So you know, thanks for watching. Do like, subscribe, comment, all of that, and I hope you enjoy this episode of Henry's Garage on the white TR7. I'm back up in Scotland. Someone pointed out to me that in reverse that says "Wee Amy," and ever since they've done that I can't help but think of this car as Little Amy. So there we are, and I don't name cars. Right, I want to get this out on both sides so that I can actually get my dampers out. The screws I just can't get at them, and they're solid, so I have ground the tops off this one and here, but there's one around the back and I can't get at that, so I'm going to take the plastic or that cover out. That appears to be just a number of screws on the other side from inside the cabin, so we're going to do that next. Okay, so that comes out quite easily. It's just 8 screws. This isn't meant to be the rusty car though, look at that. So, should be like this the whole way along. One on there is completely rusted through. Oh, bloody hell. One on this side's not much better. Still, at least I can get at these now. So, I'll get those off. So that's got that side off as well, so it should just be a case of undoing these now, and that should come out, I think. So we got both dampers off now, although we have lost one bolt. So the one thing that I didn't get off last time, apart from those, was this trailing arm here. And I brought along my grinder so I could use cutting disc on it to cut it out, and I haven't bought any new discs, and so I need to go buy some. Okay, so we've taken the sanding disc to the left hand side, not to the right hand side, so we can see how that's coming out. I'm now gonna try and decide if I'm gonna I'm now gonna knock these out, and then we'll look at coating it in rust converter and then some hammerite. Okay, so we're pressing out the I've just realised I'm doing it on the wrong one, but pressing out the bearing, the bushes, and you can see how I've just got a great big 41mm socket there for the bushes to go out into. So that's them all out, including from the one trailing arm here that I have off, and they're in a lot better condition than I was expecting. Still, they're going to get replaced. I've got new ones, so I'm going to continue cleaning these bits up now. So I've got my blades. Unfortunately, it's not long enough to get in there to get to the bolt, so I can't cut it out that way. So if anyone's ever putting these together, make sure you put the bolt in from the other side. If you put it in from the other side, you could get something onto this and give it a great whack with a hammer to knock it out. But this way, you can't get any pressure on the other side. So just remember that when you're doing it. So what I'm going to try now is, instead of trying to cut it down the middle, I'm going to try to cut this off, cut the other end off. And there's enough movement there that I'm hoping I would be able to get it out if I do that. I've managed to cut off both ends, but I'm not sure that I'm going to get enough movement to slip it out. But what I should be able to do now, hopefully, is if I can get something on this end, I should be able to whack it and maybe knock it out the other way. At least that's what I'm going to try. Well, I couldn't knock it through. It is off, but I'm going to have to do some welding, as you can see. I managed to cut through here, so that means I'm going to have to bring my welder up, but then that's got to come up for other stuff anyway, so it just means I need to make sure I do this bit. Right, so that's been cleaned off with applied rust converter, and we'll leave that to dry. And in here we've got these bits of the suspension, also covered in rust converter, and we're going to leave those to dry. Okay, it's the next day. I need to do a bit of touch up on this and flip it over, because the other side I haven't looked at really yet. And how do the other bits look? And these, for the most part, look pretty good. Okay, so let's get ready for some paint. So there's no doubt that even after all the rust conversion that goes on before, and the cleaning and all of that, it's getting the paint on that makes a difference, because it suddenly looks like a decent bit of kit. Missed a couple of bits, but it's going to get another coat, so shouldn't be too much of a problem. We're trying to press the bushings in, and we tried grease, you know, this red rubber grease. We don't have any, you know, the white silicone grease here, but we've tried fairy liquid, we've tried softening this in hot water. We don't have a heat gun, we tried a hairdryer, but and all that's happening, John, can you undo it, is this is just compressing the bush. It's not going in at all. So these lips are just too big for it, or whatever. Or at least we can't work out how to get it in. But I've compared it to an old one right here, and they are the same size. So we don't really understand what's going on. So we've been looking at the old ones, and for the bigger ones, certainly, look, they've clearly cut through in order to allow it to go in. Same on that one. And so we're thinking about, well, maybe that's the way to do it, is if we cut a bit off each edge. We only need to do it on one side. That would allow it to squeeze through, and it would still be, because it's still going to get compressed between whatever is on the car. So it's just a little bit that's coming off. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to try with this old one, cutting the edges off, a couple of sides, and see how that works. So we managed to get it in, but we actually had to, I don't know if we can zoom in on that. There we go, you can see here just a nick. So we actually had to put 2 nicks into each side of the bits that we had left on as well, in order to get those to fold in. Now I think that would go in okay. Now, and I guess my question will be whether or not we could just do it with nicks rather than cutting it off.
Yeah.
But I think what we'll do is we'll have a little break and a little think and see what we come up with. So I got that one in. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's got 16 nicks in it to get it to fold out of the way, but it did go in, and that would then mean it's got the protection the whole way around. So I think that might be how I end up having to do it. We've come back to my press to do it, and that has worked without having to trim it, although we did have a little bit come off just here. So it just needs 4 hands to work it with this press, but now we've got 4 hands, we'll do the other one. Okay, we got the first of these ones in. You can see the one side and the other side, and you can see the other side we've done a couple of cuts. I mean, these are just so hard to get in, it's unbelievable. But what we're doing, and I'm not going to film us doing it because it's so hard, but we cut those 2 bits, and then we squeeze these bits with the grips like that to try to get it as close to the circle as possible when it's going in. And that seems to, and then if we use the vise, in fact, and if we turn the vise as quickly, if we get it lined up and turn the vise as quickly as possible, it goes in at a slight angle, and then hopefully we can get it to straighten up and go in. We're about to have another go at another one. We also add a bit of washing up liquid, so you can see we get it in like that, and then we push it the rest of the way through with this over so that it can pop out. Okay, we're going to try to film our process here on the very last one. So there's a new seal out, pushing out. So we start by snipping off the ends, or the 2 sides.
Not too much.
I can't get it to cut this time. Okay, we apply a bit of washing up liquid to try to help lubricate it. We're using a well-known brand. Not that I think that will make any difference. We then try to line up in here. And you're not going to see this really because you're on the wrong side. There we go. we get it lined up. There you go, John.
Yep.
Yeah, oh, I think, yep. Okay, so the flat bits are either side here, here and here. And John's going to use these grips to try to squeeze the round sides, so the bits at the top and the bottom, to try to bring it to the same size. Yeah?
Right.
Okay. Oh, wrong way again. Right. Oh. And there. Oh. And that gets it in. Oh. Now that's the only way we can get it in. Like that. There we go. Okay. Then we move it over here. Ooh, there we go. Leave it to. There we go. We move it over here to the press, and the press has seen better days, but it's come unwelded, so we have to be quite careful with it. And at that point we push it the rest of the way through. Okay.
I think this is
That blocking the hole. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh well, sorry. That is the kind of filming you expect of Henry's garage. Okay, and there we have it. So that's how we've been doing it. I don't know if the nipping off of the edges is going to be causing too much long-term weakness, but we just couldn't get them in any other way, so that's what we've done. The last time we were working on the head, you remember they couldn't get the valve clearances correctly because we didn't have a tappet small enough. And I actually needed tappets at 0.67, and the minimum you're meant to use on a TR7 is a 0.7. And people said, well, the way you're meant to do is you should get your valves stem shortened at a machine shop. And I don't fancy going to a machine shop, so we've got a couple of old ones here, and what we're going to try is seeing how accurately we can grind something down before we do it. So we're going to try on some old ones, we'll take some measurements and we'll see how we're getting on. Okay, I think I've been doing something really dumb. My dad thinks I've been doing something really dumb. And I've been using these stem guide clearances as the values I'm trying to get between. And he was going, well, that seems awfully small. And a bit earlier in the book, we have the valve clearances, and it actually says below it, method of adjustment. And so these are what I should be working to. So these are much bigger numbers. If you look at that, 0.8, so 8 thousandths of an inch compared to 17. Is that 17 thousandths or 17 ten thousandths? 1.7 thousandths. So 8 times bigger. Now that means that all of my gaps are going to be wrong. And so I'm going to need to first work out what they should be and then work out what I need to reduce my stems by. We thought we would just try to have a go at reducing the stem length to see how accurate we could be using this method. And I managed to knock off 2.5 thou fairly quickly. So quickly that I feel I can't be accurate enough to do this. But John's going to have a go as well. So we're starting by taking a measurement first.
I've zeroed it.
We'll start again.
Okay.
What measurement did you get then?
0.57.
Okay. So these switches at the top. That's it.
5556.
Five, 6, huh?
Yeah, so it took a thou off, a thou and a bit. So, since you can get pallets in such a wide range of...
You reckon have a go at it?
Why, you know, if you take too much off, you can always find a pallet.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, maybe. Okay, well, we'll work out what sizes we need and go from there. So I've transferred my figures onto here. And this would indicate... I think I need to do my measurements again, because this would indicate this shim's okay. Let's colour it in for you. So that would indicate that one's okay. That one's okay. This one needs slight increase. This one's okay. This one's okay. This needs a slight increase. And these final two are okay. Which doesn't seem right. So were my measurements actually, were these actually meant to be 0.15, 0.04, 0.23, 0.15, 0.13, 0.16? Now if that's the case, then, which this makes more sense to me given I was using the wrong ones before, but I would therefore need shims of this size. And everything would need changing, but that's fine. At least I would know what I needed. So I'm going to get out there and measure those gaps first and go from there. So I have been out, I have remeasured all of my gaps and came out too small, and then I realised that this column here, I needed an extra zero in there. I had hundredths rather than thousandths for these shim sizes. So I've measured that, and I've now got these shim sizes that I need to get my gaps down to 0. And the good thing about this is they're all within the range, so that I don't need to worry about trying to do any grinding on the stems or anything. I don't know how I measured everything wrong last time, but we'll get there. So with that, I now need to move these about, but also I've got to go through all my old shims and see if any of them fit these sizes, so that I can move bits about and see how close I get. For example, you know, that 0.93 could potentially go here. But what I want to do is measure these shims as they come off, just to check that I've got those right and work from there. But this is certainly looking more hopeful than it was a little while ago. Okay, so we moved some of the tappets around a bit and we replaced them like this. We actually found that some of these were not quite the measurement I had originally, and I think I had these the other way around, so that's probably why. Anyway, so having moved them, we inserted some new tappets. We've predicted a measurement. For the most part, we got that measurement, or pretty close to it. One or two places here, for example, was a bit off, and here was a bit off. So we undid it, we took the cam back out, and then we just replaced it exactly as is, and we got the same measurements. So I'm fairly comfortable with this. So that means I need to buy these tappets, which are all within spec for a TR7. So I'm much happier about that. It just means I'm having to it'll be next visit before I actually get on, but at least I now feel that I know what tappets I need to get in order to get that cam together and actually put the engine together. So progress of some kind. Okay, so we have here the boot and the petrol tank. I wanted to get that petrol tank out and see if it's got holes and how bad it is on the inside. There we go, the straps are off. They were nicely rusted on. So it's just held up now by the jack, which I'm going to lower, and it's all going to come crashing down on me, so I'm going to do that off camera again. Forgot to undo this, so it won't all come crashing down. Alright, let's get that off now. Okay, so we got it out. How much damage I've done pulling it out, I don't know. That wasn't easy. And I thought, when I first started looking underneath, I could see this little hole down here. I thought, okay, that's not too bad. And then I came around and I saw a hole over here somewhere at the back. Oh no, just there. So there's another one. And then saw this great gash, and this great gash, and that hole, and this hole all the way up here. But the top half looks solid. Okay, so we're gonna get the sender unit out, try to save that. These protective strips look in good enough condition to reuse, so we'll try to save that. Possibly even the fuel pipe here might be okay, although this one definitely isn't. You can see this one is broken just here. So we'll save what we can from this and bin the rest. Okay, so we managed to get the soundproofing straps off. They came with quite a lot of rust on them, so, and I was wrong about the top being okay, because we even have a hole up there. This is the sender unit. I'm not sure if that can be restored. I'm not sure how I would go about it, to be honest. It is just cleaning it off, I guess, but I don't know if they're treated with something for being in the petrol or what. Same with the filler unit. This I'm sure could be cleaned off and used. That might be it. So this is yeah, not quite what I was expecting. And the car did come with a second filler unit, which I thought was quite cool, except the holes are in a different place, and so this would be pointing up like this, and is obviously a slightly different design in terms of the top. Doesn't go as high, so I think this must be for a different car, but I don't know what it is for. If anyone does know, let me know. And if anyone has a spare petrol tank going, let me know. Okay, so I've been under the car. So I started with something a bit worse than this. I cleaned it down to something a bit like this, and then I've painted. The difference between these colours is that's hammered black and this is smooth black. Basically anything that I wouldn't be able to get out when the petrol tank's in there, even if it's not going to be in for a while, has been covered. And hopefully over the next day or two before I leave, I'll manage to get the rest of the bottom done. So I've done I've done the front half last time I was here. I need to get the transmission tunnel here done, and then up around the back in all of this suspension stuff. I'm not sure if I'll have the time, but we'll give it a go. Been looking on the internet for a new filler pipe because I was worried about all of this rust and not wanting to put that back in. But it seems that the part isn't available any longer. Certainly not new. I don't really want to get a second-hand one because it could just be as bad. So I wondered if people could advise me on how I clean these up and get it so that it's safe to put back in a tank. What I was thinking was an electrolysis bath for the rust, and then potentially dipping it in whatever it is that you one fills the inside of a petrol tank with to protect the inside, and thinking maybe that would be the solution. But if anyone could give me some advice on that, it'd be very much appreciated. Right, that's all I've got for this episode. I have no idea at the moment if that's a long episode or a short episode, because I've taken video but I haven't really looked at it. I will have to piece it all together. I think my one outstanding question as I've gone through this, because I think I asked a couple as I go through and then work out I don't need that. So my one outstanding is, with that fuel filler pipe, how do I get that cleaned off appropriately? Do I need to do anything special given it's going in the petrol tank? Thanks for watching. Do like, subscribe, comment, and hopefully I'll be back a bit quicker next time, because it's been probably over a month since my last episode. So hopefully I'll get back a bit quicker with a bit more content. See you soon.